Hello and welcome back to the Johnny Gets Cash YouTube channel. I apologise if the microphone quality in the intro to this video isn't quite what it could be. As you can probably see, I'm missing a large part of this car that I'm currently driving. However, it is a car that I'm very excited to be sharing with you, and it is a genuine slice of the 90s. So if you want to find out more about this car and what it is and what I'm going to do with it, stay tuned. Okay, here she is. How about this for a vibrant slice of the 90s? This is a 1993 Mark 5A Ford Escort Cabriolet. Now, why is it a Mark 5A and not just a Mark 5? Well, if you're familiar with these cars, you will tell from the front that although it's got Mark 5 headlights, it's got a slightly different grille. So it looks a little bit different at the front, and around the back, it looks much more like the Mark 6 that we're all used to with the jelly mold rear lights. So it's kind of a halfway between the Mark 5 and the Mark 6, hence it's called a Mark 5A. Anyway, this is a car with a little bit of a story. As you know, I love old Fords. And I had a bit of a plan. When I saw this one advertised, I thought, what a cool looking car. I mean, I love yellow cars. I love Fords. It ticks a lot of boxes. So I had a bit of a plan for this one, and it was basically to modify it and make it look like a really cool Southend cruiser. So what I'm talking about is big Cosy reps, so 17-inch, 18-inch replica Cosworth wheels, lower it just slightly. It's already got that XR3i style front bumper, but maybe put something like an RS2000 style rear bumper on it to go with that Mark 6 back end. Just basically tidy it up and make it as nice as possible. However, when I went to look at this car, it was a shock, and a shock in the best way possible. This car is so much cleaner and so much more original than I had ever expected it to be. Now that I've had the car for a few days, I've got to be honest, I'm in two minds whether to go down the route of modifying it in the way that I thought I was going to. I'll show you around the car now and hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just such a lovely original thing. So let's have a walk around. I'll talk you through some of the details of the car, bits that I know need doing, and the bits that I'm sort of debating doing. So here's the original walk around. This car is finished in zinc yellow, so it's not as aggressive as that citrine yellow Mondeo I showed you a few weeks ago. This zinc yellow is still a very vibrant, rich colour, but it's definitely more yellow than it is sort of a zesty green like that Mondeo. Zinc yellow, beautiful colour, I think. It is a bit Marmite, I know, but on a car like this, I think a bright in-your-face colour is a good move. As I mentioned before, being the Mark 5A, this has got the XR3i style front bumper. This particular car is a 1.8 twin cam, okay, so that's the precursor to the Z-Tech engine. I believe they used to call them a Zeta before it was known as the Z-Tech, so quite a peppy engine. This car is an SI spec, so let me show you the interior. This interior is absolutely probably my favourite part of the whole car. A completely original SI interior with these ultra bolstered seats. Everything is completely unmarked and original, exactly as it would have been in 1993, including the original stereo. Now this car has covered a little bit over 53,000 miles from new. Now I'll remind you, this car is 31 years old, so you know, not even on 54,000 miles in 31 years. What a survivor. Totally original. When I first saw this car, I saw these wheels and realised they weren't the wheels that would have been supplied on this thing from the factory, so I thought something had gone on. However, I have since learnt that these are in fact RS option wheels from the RS catalogue of the day. And it seems to me that this car, being an SI spec with absolutely everything on it, including those RS package wheels, it seems to me that this is probably, or was probably, a dealer demonstrator car. So that would explain the really bright in-your-face colour, having all the toys on it. Now, again, I was shocked by many things on this car, how good they are, but so get this, we've got 4 electric windows on this car, and not only that, the hood is electric. I didn't think for a minute a 1993 car would have an electric hood, but here it is, and it all works perfectly. It doesn't leak, it goes up and down exactly as it should. It's just a dream. Now, since buying this car, I was doing some research on these Escort Cabriolets because, I'll be honest, I know a little bit about old Fords, probably more than your average bear, but I'm not ultra familiar with the Cabriolets. So I was doing a bit of research and I stumbled across an article And it was to do with the investment potential of old Fords and the booming market. Now, this article was written in 2021, so that's 3 years ago. And I thought the car and the images looked pretty familiar. Well, funnily enough, it was this actual car that was featured. So this car was for sale at a dealer in 2021. And this article was basically talking about the value of old Fords, what's happened to them, where they're going to go. Now, I can tell you from reading that article, this particular car in 2021, with virtually the same miles as what's on it now, was advertised at £10,000. This was a £10,000 car just 3 years ago. Now, I didn't pay £10,000 for this car. I'll allude to what I paid for it a little bit later on, but let's carry on with the tour and I'll try and show you what I saw in this thing. So we've been over the originality of it. It is absolutely as it should be throughout. When I first saw this, as I mentioned, I wanted to modify it, okay? So I'm thinking this thing will look really, really cool, about 40 to 50 mil lower than it is now, on a set of 17-inch Cosworth replica wheels. As you know, real Cosy wheels are only 16-inch, so a set of reps at 17-inch, which will fill those arches a bit better, stick out a little bit wider. That would look really, really cool. I originally thought I'm gonna chuck an RS2000 rear bumper on this, a Mark 6 RS2000 rear bumper, purely because there's a little tiny mark here, which in a normal world I would fix that straight away, not a problem at all. You've seen me do these smart repairs a million times. That's not an issue for me. But it gave me an opportunity to change that rear bumper. Whilst I'm at it, I saw this exhaust tip, whereas it's kind of all there, it's a little bit grotty looking. So I'm thinking a stainless exhaust with a slightly bigger tip to go with that sort of fat RS2000 look. Around the front, largely in perfect condition. The only other minor mark on this car is on the front bumper. Now, being that it's already an XR3i style bumper, I was thinking just fix that and leave that bumper as it is. Really, those are the only two minor faults this car has got. It is phenomenal. Now, also the driving experience of this car is so enjoyable. It's a very lightweight car, certainly by modern standards. If you come out of a modern vehicle and drive this, it's got that real go-karty feel to it because it's just such a lightweight thing. And as I mentioned, this is the 1800 twin cam engines. It's not the smaller 1600, this is the 1800, the one that you really would want. Again, that all ties into the fact that I think this is a dealer demonstrator from back in the day, and also that article that I read online from Haggerty's, they also believe this was a dealer demonstrator given the spec of the car. So moving under the bonnet, and again, this is a completely original piece. There's nothing in here that's been changed. It is what I would call a genuine engine bay, so everything's there that should be there. It hasn't been detailed to the high nines. It's kind of what you'd expect for a car of the age, but it's very clean. It looks a little bit misty in a place or two, but really it doesn't drop any fluids or anything like that, so I'm not too concerned. It just needs a bit of a clean up. You'll notice on the slam panel it says CB fitted 29,000 miles. Now, although this car has only done 53,000 miles now, that cam belt, I think I'm probably going to have that redone anyway, because that was done 3 or 4 years ago, I believe now. So it's kind of getting to the limit of what I'd want to see on a car. So another job to do is get a new cam belt fitted. Really not an issue. This car's got full service history and it's not long had a light service, so filters and fluids. Probably don't need to redo that. It's just this cam belt thing. Okay guys, so you can see I've bought a really lovely example, but here is my dilemma. As I mentioned, I originally bought this with the intention of doing some mods to it and making it look a little bit cooler, a little bit fresher. But having since collected the car and finding out what a clean, original and beautiful example it is, does that seem like sacrilege? Now, you could argue all the mods I've spoken about are reversible mods. There's nothing I'm going to do to this car which will change it forever. Wheels and suspension, they can be changed in and out. I want to get your angle on this. I thought this would make for great content, but what do you think? Is this car too original and too genuine to mess around with, or should I do those mods? Clearly those couple of little scuffs, they're going to get sorted regardless. The cam belt will be done regardless also. The car will be as up and together as it possibly can be. Now, it has got quite a long MOT on it, but there's a couple of advisories, CV boots and underseal on some of the brake lines. Those will all be rectified, so it'll be a completely clean MOT, because I'll redo the MOT as always. Completely clean MOT, no advisories by the time it leaves me. But my dilemma is that, do I go down the route of doing those mods, or maybe something slightly different? Maybe you've thought of something while I've been talking that I haven't seen, I haven't thought about. Let me know in the comments what I should do with this car, because I genuinely am in two minds. I really enjoy driving it myself, to be honest. I rarely use my Cosy because it's that sort of car. I don't want to put the miles on it. But this, while the sun is out, do I just enjoy this for what it is? Or do I sell it? I mean, maybe I'll sell it to one of you guys. If any of you are watching this who are after a zinc yellow Mark 5A Cabriolet Escort in beautiful original condition, let me know. You can contact me through Instagram. My username is on screen now, or you can email me. Again, my email address is on screen now. So if you are interested in this car and you don't want to see me modify it and you want to take it on for yourself, please get in touch. I did mention about price briefly earlier. As per that article, in 2021, this very car was for sale for £10,000. Now, the Ford market has changed quite a bit in the last few years. As always, the Ford market is peaks and troughs. I don't see this as a £10,000 car. To me, as it stands right now, this is something like a £5,000 or £6,000 car. If I do those modifications to it, I'm likely going to pour about £1,500, £2,000 into it to make it look the way I've got in my mind's eye. So that will make it a little bit more expensive. Is that a waste of time, effort, money, etc.? Is it sacrilege to mess around with a totally original high-spec car like this? That's the question. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. There will be more content coming on this Escort shortly. I hope you've enjoyed this intro to the car, a quick walk around, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing something that, you know, you don't see every day anymore. These cars were everywhere once upon a time, but you really don't see them anymore, much less in this sort of condition. So thank you ever so much for watching, and as always, I will, of course, catch you on the next one. Cheers.